This delivery that's in my truck that took me, 3 or 4 minutes to load up is 1 mile from my house, and it'll take me 4 or 5 minutes to unload it, and that's it. So not a lot of time invested in the actual delivery of the product once I have it at my house, which is why I shared the other day I built a big firewood rack in my garage so I can keep a small inventory of firewood here, and as soon as I get in an order I can just go ahead and ship it out. Hey guys, Phil here at Woods Tree Farm. I figured I would answer a pretty common question when it comes to my little firewood business, and this is really the first opportunity I've had to answer this question because I've never really thought about my business in this way. The question that I get all the time is, do you know how much you make per hour by doing this firewood? And up to this point, one, I've just simply never put in the time and the effort to try to calculate it that way. And two, I think it'd be a little bit challenging because much of the wood that I've processed from my own property, I've done kind of piecemeal. Like one day I'll kind of take down trees, and another day I'll delimit, and another day I'll buck it up and split it. And it's kind of tough to pull all of that together and, quantify how much time is put into that firewood. On top of that, then the wood's got to go, on a stack and season for many months and before I deliver it. So for me to really follow wood through the whole cycle and quantify that has been a challenge. But I just recently, I shared with you a delivery that I had from another guy, and I spent some time processing that wood that he delivered me. There was a load of blocks, and during that effort I went ahead and quantified all of the components to figure out how much money and time, and then therefore I can figure out how much profit and then how much I'm making per hour. So this is the area where most of my deliveries take place. This is a huge community, and it's where I live, and there are several other communities nearby that have hundreds or thousands of homes. And this is the perfect kind of suburban market to sell firewood the way that I do. And I know a lot of you guys who watch, you don't have the same kind of opportunity because you don't have the same kind of market. So obviously the numbers that I'm sharing in this video, they're only coming out the way that they are because I can sell small loads and I can sell bundles for the rate that I'm selling them here in this area. Let me show you first this load that I delivered the other week that this is all based upon. I had a full truck and then 9 bundles on this one load, and that was going out to 5 different deliveries, 5 different customers. Each of those customers were within a 4-mile radius of my house, and I did a total of 13 miles driving for all of those deliveries, from starting at my house and ending at my house. So pretty tight area, and that's really part of the success here in this formula is that I am only delivering within a few miles of my house. Now, I do have a bunch of time and fuel cost invested in running back and forth between my house and the farm. The farm's 35 minutes away. So for the purpose of today's calculation, I'm going to include that time and that fuel cost in the calculation. So the first thing to look at is how much money did I make off of this one instance? Well, I sell an individual stack of wood like this, a single row across the back of my truck, now for $49. Back at the beginning of the season, I was selling it for $45, and then I upped it to $47, and now I'm doing $49. And I haven't had a single complaint or comment about the price, so I think I'm still delivering good value. That load in that picture that I showed you had 3 of those stacks in it, so 3 times 49, you do that math. And then I also had 9 bundles on that load, and I sell the bundles 3 for $20. So there's $60 worth of bundles on that. Altogether, that was a $207 delivery that I collected from those 5 trips. We process all of our transactions through our Shopify website, which does have a cost. So you figure about 3% transaction fee on all that stuff, and you got to take about $6 off of that $207 gross that we collected. So that left us with about $201. So you know that we made about $201. What are the costs that went into that delivery? Well, the wood itself I purchased for $60, and that wood, I actually have to kind of estimate that cost because that delivery was to make up for a previous delivery that I was shorted, and he brought me more than what I was shorted, and I had to pay an extra $60, and I ended up using about half of what he delivered. So anyway, I'm just calling the cost of that wood $60. It worked out to be about a third of a cord. So $60 for a third of a cord is not completely out of the question. If I'm trying to estimate my fuel costs, the farm's 35 minutes away. I burn about 2 gallons of gas in each direction, so I've got 4 gallons in fuel going back and forth to the farm, and then I've got 12 miles in delivery, so that's an extra maybe $2 in fuel costs. So I'm putting my total fuel costs at about a $2.40 fuel rate, which is about where it is right now, and so I've got about just short of $12 in fuel costs. So all my costs altogether are coming up to $71.60. So I told you before we grossed after the fees about $201. I told you my costs were $71.60. We subtract those two and we get $129.40 was our gross profit on this. Then we have to look at how much time was spent on that. So I spent about 2 hours splitting the wood, which kind of was eye-opening. And a lot of those pieces were really big. I also had to cut some ends off and make some shorter. So anyway, I spent a bunch of time processing that third of a cord of wood, and it could have been a lot faster if it was smaller pieces and if it was cut the right length and all that. But anyway, what I spent on this particular order that we're using as an example was 2 hours splitting and stacking it in the truck. My drive home was 35 minutes, and then my delivery time for all of those stops was about 40 minutes. So I've got 3 hours and 15 minutes total in all of that time, and that's a 3 1/4 hours. So I told you before our gross profit was $129.40. You divide that into 3 1/4 hours, and that comes out to $39.81. Not bad. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you watching. If you missed my other video, I'll drop a little preview of it right over here, where you can go back and see that delivery that that was made to me, that I split up and then turned around into those 5 deliveries that I described before. At the end of that video, I talked a little bit about how I attracted my Firewood customers. So if you're interested in that, go back and check that out. So see you on the next video, guys. Bye-bye.